Imagine the world as a massive puzzle, a puzzle where every piece fits into a bigger picture defined by numbers. What if the most critical stories of our time aren't told by headlines, but by data? In fact, the world around us is constantly shifting, driven by these numbers. From climate change to economic powerhouses, and from the rise of megacities to the future of energy, it's all mapped out in data. Welcome to a journey through the numbers that shape our lives, our economies, our environment, and the future of the planet itself. Buckle up because the world is changing faster than ever before, and the numbers are our guide. As of 2024, the global population stands at a staggering 8 billion people. That's right, 8 billion unique individuals, families, communities, and nations spread across the planet. The world's population has tripled since 1950, an exponential increase that tells a story of unprecedented growth. But where is this growth occurring? What does it mean for our cities' resources and economies? Take a look at the demographics. In the 1950s, the world's urban population was only 30%, with most people living in rural areas. By 2030, it's expected that 60% of the world's population will be living in cities. That means an additional 2.5 billion people will move to urban areas in just the next 15 years. And it's not just about urban growth. Some regions will see explosive population booms. In 2024, Asia is home to 60% of the global population, with China and India together accounting for more than 37% of the world's total population. These two countries alone are expected to add 500 million people to their populations by 2050. Meanwhile, Africa, which currently has a population of 1.5 billion, is projected to double by 2050, adding another 2 billion people. The growth is not evenly distributed. While some countries are seeing stable or even shrinking populations, many regions, especially in the global south, are experiencing rapid population growth. Countries like Nigeria, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Pakistan will see their populations double by 2050. This growth presents both opportunities and challenges, especially for infrastructure, housing, and employment. Earth's surface is vast, but only 29% of it is land, about 149 million square kilometers, and as the population continues to grow, the question of where people will live and how we use our land becomes increasingly important. Consider this. Africa, with its vast landmass, occupies about 30% of the Earth's land, yet it only holds 17% of the world's population. Asia, on the other hand, is home to nearly 60% of the world's people, but covers only 44.5% of the planet's land. And North America? It holds 5% of the world's population, yet the landmass is about 24 million square kilometers, roughly 16% of the world's total. As cities expand, so does the demand for land. In 2024, more than 25% of the world's land is classified as urbanized, and this will increase dramatically in the coming decades. In fact, experts predict that by 2050, urban areas will double in size, with cities sprawling outward and upward to accommodate the influx of people. The implications of this urban expansion are profound, influencing everything from local economies to global environmental conditions. By 2050, 68% of the world's population will live in urban areas, a sharp increase from just 30% in 1950. This rapid urbanization is a driving force in global economic development. In 2024, there are 33 megacities worldwide, each with populations of over 10 million people. By 2050, that number is expected to grow to 43, with the largest cities seeing population booms of 5 to 10 million people each. But what's behind the rise of these megacities? Many of these cities are in regions of the world that are experiencing unprecedented growth. For example, Lagos, Nigeria's largest city, is growing at an annual rate of 8%. By 2050, Lagos will surpass 40 million residents. Similarly, Delhi, India's capital, is growing by 2 million people each year, and it's expected to become the world's most populous city by 2030. The growth of megacities presents unique challenges. These cities must build infrastructure capable of supporting millions of residents. Think transportation, housing, healthcare, and energy. As we enter the smart city age, data-driven technologies, powered by mapping and geodata, will become the backbone of these urban transformations. Geopolitics and other mapping tools will be essential in visualizing the complex interactions between urban space, traffic, energy, and more. Now let's talk money. In 2024, the world's total GDP is projected to reach $105 trillion. The top economies remain the United States, China, and Japan, with the US alone accounting for about 25% of global economic output. However, the economic landscape is shifting. China, currently the second largest economy in the world, is expected to surpass the US as the largest by 2030, driven by rapid industrialization, technological innovation, and an expanding consumer market. But it's not just the US and China. Emerging markets, particularly in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, are growing at a pace that's outstripping many developed economies. In 2024, India is the fifth largest economy in the world, with a GDP of $3.7 trillion, and it's expected to reach $5 trillion by 2027. Meanwhile, Nigeria, a country with an economy growing at 5 to 7% annually, is set to become Africa's largest economy within the next decade. The economic transformation in these regions will shift the global power dynamic, influencing trade patterns, investment flows, and global politics. Global trade continues to be the backbone of economic growth, with the total value of goods traded worldwide projected to reach $30 trillion by 2024. And with the rise of the digital economy, services and e-commerce are becoming just as important as traditional trade routes. Climate change is arguably the most pressing issue of our time. Since the start of the Industrial Revolution, global temperatures have risen by about 1.2 degrees Celsius. While this might sound like a small increase, it has already caused catastrophic environmental changes. Sea levels have risen by 8 to 9 inches since 1880, and this trend is accelerating. If current emissions trends continue, sea levels could rise by as much as 3 feet by 2100, displacing hundreds of millions of people living in coastal regions. Countries like Bangladesh, the Philippines, and small island nations are already facing the realities of rising sea levels, with thousands of people being forced to relocate each year. Extreme weather events are becoming more frequent and severe. The number of climate-related disasters has increased fivefold since the 1970s. In 2024, natural disasters caused by climate change are expected to cost the global economy $350 billion in damages. Wildfires, hurricanes, droughts, and floods have become common in regions that were once considered relatively safe from such events. Mapping climate data is critical in understanding and responding to these changes. Geodata helps governments and organizations track shifts in weather patterns, resource availability, and population movements, providing vital information for climate action. As the global population grows, so too does the demand for energy. In 2024, the world is expected to consume over 600 exajoules of energy, with demand rising most rapidly in developing countries. Fossil fuels still dominate, but the global energy transition is underway. Renewable energy is growing at an unprecedented rate. In 2024, global solar energy capacity is expected to exceed 1.5 terawatts, and by 2030, wind and solar power could account for 50% of global energy production. China, which is already the world leader in solar energy production, is projected to invest an additional $500 billion in renewable energy over the next decade. The shift to renewable energy is also reshaping global energy trade. In 2024, the global market for electric vehicles is set to surpass $400 billion, with sales expected to reach 60 million units by 2030. The rapid expansion of electric vehicles, combined with advancements in battery storage and smart grids, will revolutionize energy systems, making energy distribution more efficient and accessible. The digital revolution is reshaping how we live, work, and interact. Every day, 2.5 quintillion bytes of data are generated worldwide, from social media posts to financial transactions, from healthcare information to weather data. This explosion of data is not just growing, it's evolving. In 2024, there are over 5 billion internet users globally, with digital connectivity playing a crucial role in economic growth. Over 30 billion connected devices are expected to be online by 2025, a number that will only continue to increase. Geodata and mapping tools like Geopolitics 3AE are at the heart of this transformation. They allow us to visualize everything from traffic patterns to environmental changes to health trends, helping us make better decisions in real time. The digital economy is expanding rapidly, and by 2030, it's expected that 60% of global GDP will be driven by digital services. Whether it's the rise of megacities, the ongoing battle with climate change, or the economic shifts driving our world forward, one thing is certain. Numbers are the key to understanding our past, present, and future. The data we gather today will shape the world we live in tomorrow. From mapping urbanization and tracking climate change to driving digital transformation and optimizing energy systems, the numbers will guide us toward a more sustainable, prosperous future. And as we continue to map the world digitally and physically, those numbers will help us understand where we are, where we're going, and how we can get there. Stay tuned for more insights. Together, we can map a brighter